Craft cocktails, from the classics to zero-proof drinks, are all around us. But what if we told you that craft cocktails are actually a relatively recent addition to the culinary scene? My name is Toni Tipton Martin, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Cook's Country at America's Test Kitchen. I want to introduce you to a podcast mini-series I'm hosting called 100 Proof, The Journey of the American Cocktail. Over 6 episodes, we'll look at how mixed drinks offer us a window into what was happening in America during the dawn of the cocktail. We'll then take you to the present day to contemplate what forces led to our modern cocktail renaissance. And along the way, we'll of course be sharing cocktail recipes with you. Subscribe to Proof from America's Test Kitchen so you won't miss the first episode. It drops on Thursday, May 23rd. Again, that's Proof, Proof, from America's Test Kitchen. Cheers.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
Westholme is working with the land to create nature-led Australian Wagyu. Westholme believes that when nature leads, flavor follows. Learn more at westholme.com.
Hello, welcome to Japan Eats. I'm your host Akiko Katayama, a food writer and director of the New York Japanese Culinary Academy, which promotes a deep understanding of Japanese cuisine in America. We are broadcasting live from Brooklyn, New York. This show is all about Japanese food and food culture. We see sushi every day on the supermarket, but what is beyond sushi? We hear dashi ramen izakaya, but what exactly are they? Japanese food is still a mystery for many people, and I try to demystify it in this program with my good guests. My guest today is Shinji Sakamoto, who is a seafood expert based in Tokyo. Shinji's background is unique and impressive. He trained himself as a buyer in the world's biggest seafood market, Tsukiji, and worked in Japan, Singapore, and the US to support operations of the seafood departments at major corporations. And he also received formal culinary education at one of the top culinary programs in Japan. You may have heard about the Tsukiji Market, which was relocated in 2018 and is now called the Toyosu Market. It is a central wholesale market in Tokyo, and every high-end sushi restaurant in the world relies on the market to secure the best quality seafood available. So today we'll discuss how Shinji became a seafood expert and buyer at the world's biggest fish market, why the Toyosu Market is so important, regardless of whether you are in the seafood industry or seafood lover, how the market works to offer fine seafood in the best condition, and much, much more. But before we start, Japan Eats is available on Heritage Radio Network website, as well as on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify as a podcast. So please go to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, whichever you listen to, and subscribe to Japan Eats. And please write a review. We really appreciate your feedback. Now, let's start a conversation with Shinji Sakamoto. Hello, Shinji. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Akiko-san. Nice to talk to you today.
So and thank you for joining us from all the way from Tokyo. So to get to know you first, where you're from and what did you eat when you grew up?
Okay, so I'm from Tokyo, one of our town in the suburb area. I'm a very typical Japanese, and then I grew up eating any food in Japan, and but mainly my mother handmade, but it's not really special. Very basic Japanese style food, like white rice, miso soup, and some dish such as like stir fried vegetable meat. So but anything we can available from local supermarkets. But on the other hand, my father loved seafood, so he fed me tons of seafood. Maybe that's why I'm a seafood person.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that Japanese people say, I grew up with typical Japanese food and nothing special, but I think most of us think like, oh, that's a pretty healthy, balanced meal. So that's the more I listen to my guests, I really realize that Japan is a pretty healthy place.
Maybe, but Japanese food, it's very healthy. But on the other hand, if you keep eating something, something special, only something like a curry or rice or whatever, only carbohydrate, it's not really good. So you should, explore many different type of food.
That's a great point. And you are in the best environment to pursue the best high quality seafood, which is healthy. So how did you get into the world of seafood?
Actually, first of all, as I said, my father is from Kyushu Island, Kumamoto Prefecture.
Oh, like my father too.
Oh, really? That's what a
Yeah, and that's how my dad really loved the seafood. So
maybe they may be friends in there. Anyways, So when I was elementary school boy, every summer vacation I went to Kumamoto, and then I had a very fresh seafood there. We went out for fishing. We went for river to catch a ayu. Just like a hand-caught ayu, and so and so. Anyways, that is one of the biggest influence for me to get into the seafood. But after I wanted to do something physical for a job. So when I think just before graduating high school, I studied part-time at a fish retail store. So that's the first thing I went into the seafood industry, actually. But the first job is basically, cleaning the cutting boards, and then I basically cleaners in the fish retail, but also, sell fish. Just yell to customers, oh, today's special is this and that, I didn't know anything how to cook seafood, but I just love to sell fish.
That's interesting, because all the sushi chefs say the first training is how to clean. That's the cleanliness, which creates a foundation. And also, that yelling thing. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I think it's the freshness of the fish is reflected in your voice. Like, this is fresh, and you should buy it. That's kind of Japanese.
Yeah. It's same in the US. If you go like a local fish market in Seattle, there is what is it called? The very famous fish market there, and then they're yelling, and then they're throwing the salmon. But that's the kind of great thing for customers to get excited, right? And so it's the same thing, not just in Japan, but surely how you attract customers to bring into you is a key to sell fish. If you're cheerful, or if you're very
energetic, right?
yeah. So that fish looks more. Fish also look energetic. So
right. That's a good point. So it's a universal market energy. That's a very common. Right. And you also went to a culinary school after you worked as a seafood expert for a while. So, and you went to the École Tsukiji Tokyo, which is a top culinary school in Tokyo. So why did you go to study cooking, and what did you learn?
The first thought to get in the school was that when I was doing the wholesale job in Singapore, I didn't have the view of chefs, how they look at the fish in terms of what type of fish they use, or how they cook, how they fillet. All the small details were something I couldn't find from my experience in the fish retail shops. So I was really interested in what their kind of how they came to the chef, and then what they're looking at. So that's why that's the first reason I joined the culinary school. And then it is a Japanese course, which is to learn about kaiseki meal. I didn't know anything about kaiseki at the time. So it was, once I get into school, it was kind of a lot, different world was there. So that was really fun. And then also seriously it was hard, even, I was at the time like 34 years old already, but the most, students are like 18 or 16 sometimes. But, those are one of the great experience for me. I learned a lot. Yes.
Right, because you now you know both sides of seller and buyer kind of
Yes.
perspectives. So did it change? You can understand now what kind of fish to sell or not to sell?
Yeah, I mean, I know fish, but especially like something very specific fish, such as like anago or for example hamo, or some fish are only used in the west of Japan. Some are no, usually we don't sell in our fish store like a hamo. It's just already processed. But if you go culinary school, you're gonna deal with the live hamo. You're gonna kill it, and then you feel it, and then you cut all the bones, so and so. Yeah, totally. What chef needs a specific size for specific meal. And also freshness. Of course, chef needs the most high. The best freshness for sushi or sashimi, or but not just freshness. So depends on how they do business as a chef. If the chef is for high end top sushi restaurant, of course the freshness matters. But if you work for like a school, if you're a cook for school, for serving a dish for children, of course budget, you need you have a certain budget. So you don't necessarily need the best quality fish, so and so. So I learned a lot. Just not selling fish. For general consumers, in the market.
Right, and just for listeners who are not familiar with the hamo, hamo is kind of like very delicate tasted fish, but it's known for very tiny bones, which is very hard to remove and cut, because your knives get into the tiny bones all the time. So it's a test as a great chef. If you can make hamo beautifully, you are proven to be a good one.
Right.
So yeah, that's interesting. Wow. And now you probably have a better network of chefs to be friends with, right? Because you went to the same school and future top chefs. So yeah, that's great. All right, so we'll take a quick break here. And when we come back, we'll discuss all about the world's biggest fish market, Toyosu. So please stay with us.
Whether you're a chef or just love going to restaurants, you know the best ingredients are everything, especially when it comes to beef. In Northern Australia, there's a different approach to raising high-quality beef. Westholme, based in Queensland and Northern Territory, is working with the land to create nature-led Australian Wagyu. Westholme stewards 16 million acres of rangeland, guided by their natural ecosystems. They're led by a belief that if they balance the needs of their cattle with the needs of the environment, both can thrive. Westholme's team of rangelands experts and nature managers use a variety of tools to monitor and respond to the welfare of the environment, like satellites that address grass health and on-the-ground research. Cattle are happier when they have the freedom to forage and explore, so Westholme ensures that they can roam wild, foraging at will for the first 2 to 3 years of their lives. Their cows graze on native grasses like Mitchell grass, which is only found in Australia, along with dozens of other plants, herbs, and seasonal legumes. The result is a high-quality Wagyu beef that reflects the terroir of Northern Australia and a flavor suited to complement any cuisine. Westholme believes that when nature leads, flavor follows. Learn more at westholme.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Japan Eats on HRN, Heritage Radio Network. I'm your host, Akiko Katayama, and my guest today is Shinji Sakamoto, who is a seafood expert and buyer at the world's biggest seafood market, Toyosu. So, let's talk about world's biggest fish market, Toyosu, which was, used to be the Tsukiji Market before it was relocated to become the Toyosu Market in 2018. And actually, it's like very close. It's like 10 minutes by car from between Tsukiji and Toyosu. So it's not too far, but it's a big deal. So first of all, right, we'll discuss it. First of all, what is the history of the Tsukiji Market and how did it become the biggest market in the world?
So first of all, the original, if we go back to long time, like this, some centuries ago, the first original fish market was in Nihonbashi, and then it lasted a long time. But after the Kanto Great Earthquake, the original market was destroyed, so that they had to move. And then actually it's moved to the place called Tsukiji. And then, so that's first history. So Tsukiji Market is not the first fish market in Tokyo. And then Tsukiji went through the World War II, and then finally started regular business after, I believe it's after 30 years after it's opened. So after the war, and then with the economic boom after the Tokyo Olympics, the Tokyo was called the Tsukiji Market was called the center of Tokyo kitchen. So all the the number of fish coming from all over Japan increased, but with that increase, all the demand was there. So it was one of the biggest industry in Japan, I believe. So that's the Tsukiji Market. So the Tokyo Olympic was 1964, I believe. So that almost 40 years more. Maybe 50 years. Since it's open, obviously it's like 80 years, but almost 50 years, it had a really great time in there, big business.
It's amazing, right? So originally, like you said, it was in Nihonbashi, and the market was because Tokyo Bay was Edo Bay back then, and Edo period started in 17th century, and that was the first time Japanese public started to enjoy the peaceful life because there's no wars throughout the country. So the market thrived like 3 centuries. And then there's an earthquake in 1923. So the earthquake is really tragic, but it kind of created the beginning of Tsukiji Market.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But why did Tsukiji have to relocate to Toyosu in 2018?
So I think there are two reasons. One is the safety of workers. Since it's been 80 years, so too dangerous to work there. Just in case if the big earthquake comes, and the other reason is the demand from the world market, because the old Tsukiji Market was not hygienic market. There's no wall. It's not like a building. It's just like a I would say roof. Because it used to be coming the trains bringing all the seafood to the market to sell, right? So basically any pests. Such as like a mouse or cats or whatever can come in anytime. But now the worldwide, if you see the world, all the sushi started to become popular, and and then all the demand from the Tsukiji Market started going up. But from the foreign countries, they wanted to, they were kind of anxious about the safety of the fish from the Tsukiji Market. It's because of the environment. So now by the moving to this market, it can be, the market can it's like a building, and then all the seafood is temperature controlled under refrigerated area, and also has up ideas, which is kind of always checking the temperature to make sure fish, like for example, like a histamine kinds of seafood, such as tuna or like a mackerel, or yellowtail. Those fish, can prevent all the danger of the histamine, formation, so and so. So I believe those two are major reasons, as far as I believe.
I heard that it costs about $5.1 billion to build a new market, and the Toyosu is 1.7 times larger than Tsukiji. And like you said, the original Tsukiji was built to accommodate the railroad-based transportation system, but then now everybody's using truck-based system. So, and I remember when I went to Tsukiji, there were birds flying into my food, and it's a very market lively and kind of like nostalgic idea of market, but even workers are very dangerously fast running in the cart, and I thought, oh my god, people could be killed by that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's a big reason too. Basically, there's not a lot of enough space for trucks and then people, for workers to work. So it's always, I was, while I was working there, always people are fighting, I came first, you came first, and then you're fighting all the time. And then the people come to the market after drinking, and then, anyways, it was chaos. But now, Toyosu Market is very, how to say, peaceful, what I say.
Okay. And then you mentioned the HACCP, which is the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. It's the Global Food Safety Management System. So I think in the end, after all this $5.1 billion, I think investment is going to be really a good one, because the HACCP is very strict, and you can sell more seafood to the global market because you can easily pass the standards. So, right. So why is the Toyosu market so important to everywhere in the world? I mean, it was used to be Toyosu Tsukiji, but now it's Toyosu. So regardless of whether you are a chef, purveyor, or diner, why is the biggest, most important seafood market on earth?
Basically, it's not just Toyosu, but the Tsukiji also. But the reason why the Toyosu market is so important for everyone in the world, especially for any for chefs, but it's a place that fish, all the seafood gathering to the market, evaluated by the eyes of the professionals, so that the price, even the same fish, each fish is going to be very different, prices. So fishermen once keeps trying to keep sending better fish every day, so that competition starts at the point, and then all the they try to kind of develop their own skills, kind of secret skills, how to kill fish, or how to distribute the fish, so and so. So that's actually made all the went up the made to the higher level of the freshness in Japan. Of course, the distribution system of the refrigeration is a big key also. But however, the eyes of the vendors in the market is the key.
Right. So the best buyers like you naturally come to and compete for the same items. So it's kind of like upward refinement all the time for centuries, and everybody goes there. And now global popularity of sushi and other seafood for health and many other reasons. I think that's another environment, right? The demand is higher too, and you are more demanded too as the expert who can buy the best fish.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. And I heard that there's the number two, biggest number two market, seafood market is called Mercado San Miguel in Madrid, Spain. And I
Oh,
heard,
okay.
yeah, and then the trade quantity was 42% of Toyosu in 2021, and
Oh,
the
really?
traded
Oh.
value was 39%. But the physical size of the market is 4 times larger than the Toyosu market. So
Oh.
it's interesting, yeah, how much and the value and the quantity of fish goes into this Tokyo
Very interesting.
market space. Yeah. Right. And so the basic seafood comes to Toyosu from all over the world. And for example, I heard the bluefin tuna caught in Boston may go to the Toyosu market to fetch the best price. So how does the Toyosu market work? And could you give us some examples how the piece of fish comes in and goes out from the market, Toyosu
Okay.
market?
So there's basically 3 steps that fish goes through the market. So first step is there are 6 big wholesalers who gathers all the seafood to the tourist market. They called oroshi. So they are the people, contact all the time with the fishermen or local fish port or company who buys the fish from the local ports also, and then get the information and then bring the fish to the central tourist market. That's the first step. So and then the oroshi sells those gathered fish to nakaoroshi. Nakaoroshi is the middle wholesalers in tourist market. There are, I think it's just a little less than 500 right now. They have specialties such as like tuna or live fish or clam or shrimp, so and so. So they actually join the auction of the oroshi, and then buy the fish. And then the third step is the chefs or supermarkets who comes to buy fish from nakaoroshi, the middle wholesalers. So those 3 steps go through, and then general consumers go to supermarkets to get fish, or go to the restaurant to enjoy the meal. So that's a very basic flow of the tourist central market.
So you are the one who purchased.
Exactly. So I was a buyer in Nakaoroshi, and then so I could join the auction, or we also some are we can some special categories like tuna or sea urchin or shrimp. Those categories we do auction, but most general fish coming from all over the Japan, we negotiate with the auctioneers by through the communication. So I was more like buyer, make a trust with the auctioneers, and then ask for a discount, or of course it's case by case though. So like that, tuna vendors, surely everything is done by auction, but so even nakaoroshi, there are different way of buying fish in the tourist market.
Right. So it sounds like you really have to know people and get trusted.
Sure.
Right. So
Yes.
you can't just go come in and get the license and just
So it
right.
never
So
happened. Yeah.
it's only time and you're a nice person, and these are the 2 things you need to be.
I mean, I was lucky that I'm belong to a very big company, kind of influential company for the tourist market, which is a very big buyer. So of course, wholesalers of course think about us. If they can sell, they may tell us, okay, I have this much of leftover fish. Okay, would you please buy this at the discounted price? But everything, please take everything. So of course, the name of the company works for me, but also of course, individual person's personality, how you communicate with the, auctioneers or become friends with them, all the small details, makes a trust. And then, if you need help, they help us, So, but if the auctioneers, needs help, of course we want to help them. So kind of, back and forth, trust. We are just not, asking for discount. Always, evaluate the fish and then a suitable, price we offer, and then they may kick back or they may take it. It's a negotiation. So.
Right, I heard a while ago, it's all about Tsukiji documentary, and because as the fish is almost like agricultural products, there's no guarantee for the vendor, purveyor, to have regular supply and regular income for the person. So chefs do not even ask the price because they support each other, and that's how you get the best quality. But when the chef has to support the business of the fisherman or the vendor, they just buy it for the long-term relationship. So it sounds like it's very traditional, but very organic and a sustainable way to maintain the whole system of the
Oh,
seafood
yeah.
market.
That's a great point. Yes. Yes.
But I'm curious, though, are there many English-speaking buyers like you, or the wholesale, like meat wholesaler? Because it's a global market, and your talent and skills are very precious.
I mean, I'm still young. I'm middle of 40s, but there are many buyers. Even in my company, there are like 10 buyers. Each buyers has a specialties. Just it takes time, of course, to buy fish. How you gotta learn everything about the knowledge of the fish, how to check the freshness, so and so. But the most important is, of course, as I said, the trust between the auctioneers, because they are the teacher for buyers, for the young buyers, Yeah. So if you don't act, politely, or, you can't just act like, oh, I'm a buyer, you're going to sell the fish. No way. They will never sell you. You're going to be polite and then, always greet, and then be, honest first. And then once you learn from them, now it's the time to kind of negotiate, Now it's time to lie, maybe. I don't know. But lying in a negotiation is one of the techniques, I believe. But I'm too. I think I'm too, how to say, honest. So it's not. I just buy with the trust. But there are many buyers who has a different way of approach to negotiate the price. So, So what I heard from my boss, senior buyers is, once you get in the Tsukiji market, don't trust anyone. So, yeah. But now that, Toyosu Market, I mean, fish, the price is going up comparing to like some decades ago. And then quantity of the fish coming into the market is very small amount. So price is, how do I say, it's very stable, high. So it's quite difficult to negotiate right now, because if you go under what they offer, they just they just sell to others. So it's quite changing how we should approach to buyers. So not just the distribution through the market. Now the fishermen, of course, there are a lot of how to say. The environment is changing for fishermen, for the technology improvement. They can sell, for the final consumers directly from the fish port, So totally the role of the market is little by little changing. That's for sure I can feel.
Interesting. Right. By the way, some of our listeners may be wondering how to do business at Toyosu. It sounds like a very unique, interesting
Mm-hmm.
job. So, how do you become a buyer at Toyosu? Or even it's
Buyer.
possible?
First of all, if you want to be a buyer, of course, you gotta join one of the vendor nakaoroshi, and then start from the apprentice, and once you get trust with a member, you may be picked up for a buyer. So it's not something. Oh, I want to be a buyer at first, and then start to work as a buyer. Yeah. So yeah, but it's quite hard, I believe. Yeah.
Right. It sounds like becoming a sushi chef in Japan. Some kind of
Oh
like a
yeah,
very
yeah.
high
That's very
hurdle.
very similar. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's no shortcuts. So,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, so it's hard to be a part of it, but a lot of listeners are interested in tuna auctions, which
Mm-hmm.
is famous and eye-catching events.
Mm-hmm.
Probably many people saw it on TV or something else. So, how does the auction system work at Toyosu Market?
Okay. The first of all, the tuna. Tuna has two categories. One is fresh. The other one is super frozen. So there are two sections in this auction area. And then fresh tuna comes every day from all over world, all over Japan, of course. But super frozen tuna is the tuna frozen on the fishing vessel. So once the fishing vessels travels the ocean like half year or so until the 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 boats fills up with the fish. So the freezer is already on the boats. So once they catch it, they gilangar and then ikijime, method to kill the fish and then immediately freeze the whole fish in the super freezer. And then once it's filled, the boat is filled with the tuna. They come back to the fish ports where the super freezer facilities are located, and then and those facilities sends to Toyosu Market every day the whole super frozen tuna. That's gonna be in the auction. So basically, there are two separate parts of the tuna auction. And then so the auctioneers, once they receive those tuna from the trucks, they, get ready for the auction. And then number each fish and then put the and a paper sign that indicates where it's from, farm or and the weight of the fish, farm or wild, so and so, and how it's caught. And then the buyers from the nakaoroshi comes to the auction area, and then first of all they have time to evaluate each fish, and then they kind of decide how much you want to buy those fish, how much you want to bid in the auction. And then once the auction starts, auctioneers calls the number of the fish one by one, and then yell the minimum price the auctioneer wants to sell. And then buyers of nakaoroshi send signs by hands. There are special hand signs for bidding. And then so the auctioneers, once they yell the price and then find the highest bid from those signs from many buyers, and then call the highest bid, the price of the highest bid, and then if others don't follow after that, even higher price winner is determined, and then call the winner's name. So basically it comes from the bottom and then going up, and then ends when nobody says anything. That's how it works. So fresh fish, frozen fish, exactly the same way of the auction. And then once winners buy the fish, immediately bring back to their fish stall and then start to cut up and then check the quality.
Right. So I'm sure that because you have that, hand signs, as I heard, theory,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like you have to really know fluent in using those. So
Oh,
you see
yeah,
the
yeah.
same people you see the same faces at each auction.
No, never.
Oh, no, really?
Basically, all the buyers are from a different, of course, companies, so they're competing each other. But they already have, bidding price. So
Mm.
yeah, mm, yeah. If they're 1-to-1, if they're competing really hard, they may kind of send eye contacts or something. But usually they are only watching the auctioneers and then giving the sign.
Mm. Wow, sounds very intense. So,
It is,
right.
it is intense, yes,
Mm.
and exciting.
So this part system hasn't changed since from Tsukiji to Toyosu. But
Mm.
what do you think about the change from Tsukiji to Toyosu markets? What are the pros and cons after the move?
First of all, location. Tsukiji Market was in the center of Tokyo. Actually, from the most highest shopping area, Ginza, it was a walking distance, like 15 minutes away. But now Toyosu is you gotta walk 15 minutes maybe if you want to go there.
Mm,
That's the first thing. So all the high end sushi restaurants were gathering in Ginza, but then now they have to take a public transportation to get there. So that's one thing. It's cons, correct? And also basically pros is, as I said, it's in working environment, more space, and then for trucks and workers, and then the temperature control facility for the safety. That's the pros. And another cons is, as you said, atmosphere of the market. Absolutely, Tsukiji had 8 years, old, nostalgic atmosphere, but no more in the tourist market. And then even you come to tourist market, you cannot get into the auction area. There is a kind of visitors observation area, but when they do the tuna auction, you gotta apply for the tickets to see it, close to the auction. So very limited numbers can get the tickets. So that's another, if I say it's cons. But for workers, it's great because they were in Tsukiji Market. They were totally disturbed by tourists. Including I used to do that tour guide, so I cannot say that. But anybody could go into the working place in the tourist market. Even tuna auctions, you could go in and then kind of check it out. At a certain point, of course, Tokyo government decided to kind of draw a line. But right now, tourist market, you can never visitors never ever be able to get in that area as long as you have a ticket. So yeah, that's a big difference. So so from the perspective of the workers, I think pros is more if you don't think about location. Yeah, so I believe it's good. It's good. Yeah, good to change, I think. Yeah.
right. Okay. And so personally, though, what is the
Mm.
most exciting thing about working in the seafood industry?
Never ending learning of seafood. That's first thing comes in my mind. Because seasonal local fish from all over Japan and in the world. Um, I've been working in a fish market and then fish industry over how many years? Almost 30 years. But I still have some discovery new fish sometimes. So, and then I never I still have some fish I never had before. So every day is kind of it's get excited when I see something new. That's one thing. Well, and then it's totally, Japanese culture. So totally, I love it. Kind of I can feel as a Japanese, something I'm proud of. That's another thing.
Yeah, by hearing it, I get goosebumps. Like the fish market, I get traditional energy and also the mindset of fish, which comes out of nature, and you have total respect. Somehow, like Japanese people worship what comes out of nature and the big ocean and from sea to table feeding. Yeah, I think that's a great concentrated space called fish market that you can really feel the connection between nature and we being human. So, but what is the biggest challenge in working in the seafood industry for you?
Especially in the market, sure, it's a work schedule. You gotta, you leave late night, like 11 p.m., and then start working, and then finish by like 1 p.m., sometimes 3 p.m. And so usually day and night is totally opposite from normal work. So, and then on top of that, short sleep. So, when the market was still in Tsukiji, there was, the market closing day was basically only holidays, like a national holiday or Sunday, and then sometimes Wednesday. But now, once it's moved to Thursday, it's a little bit easier because Wednesday is usually off right now. But even so, working schedule is quite tough.
Right, but you get best seafood with lots of omega-3 and
Yeah,
you
so
stay
it works
healthy.
for it. Yeah, totally works for it. Yeah.
Right. By the way, the seafood, the whole seafood is becoming more important globally for health and environmental reasons mainly. So, what are your thoughts on sustainability of seafood?
Um, it is the most important part of the seafood in the future, especially for Japan. I mean, of course, since Japan has abundant seafood coming from the ocean current, and then that kind of basically brings all the seasonality of Japan, though. But now, as I said, the fish numbers are decreasing totally. If we just keep, catching it, absolutely, if we take the small fish, we don't get the bigger fish in the future. And then if you see outside of Japan, sustainability is the most important key for the seafood industry. So that Japan naturally, of course, has to follow it to if you want to do the business with the with foreign countries, surely. And of course, for the education of the kids in Japan, that's something we gotta teach them. Sustainable, generation to generation, we gotta teach seafood and then let them enjoy the seafood. So surely sustainability, like MSC certified seafood is very important to choose. Yeah, so yeah, it's all about education, I believe. So hopefully I can kind of get into it a little bit for kids to learn and then to choose sustainable seafood.
Right. Actually, so you have a little kid, I think, right?
He's already 14 years old, but he's
Oh,
still
okay. He's not little
that
anymore.
big.
Right. Wow. So, what's his view? Does he have any different view from?
It's interesting. I mean, I fed him a lot of wild seafood. He loved it. I'm sure his taste has a sense of the tasting fish is different from other kids. But surely, what since he's been in Japan since he was 2.5 years old, and then growing up eating a lot of salmon. at the sushi at the like a big sushi chain restaurants, which is farm raised. It's good. It's sustainable, so it should be better for environment. But on the other hand, eating a lot of salmon, so that the sense of the taste of the white fish is kind of how to say, getting blurry. So yeah, it's I don't know what to say, but but enjoying anyways.
Right. Well, it's interesting that the farmed fish, I started to hear that because of the contamination of the seawater and also the microplastic issues, some high quality farmed fish is better for all of us, considering how harmful it can be if you catch wild. Also the fish population as well. So there's something to consider, and like you said, education is becoming more important. And also, like when I grew up, and it's still now, Japanese supermarket sells really amazing anchovies, sardines, and mackerels, and people in America usually do not appreciate as much as we do in Japan. So that's another palate education too, right? Like your son loves salmon, and also by the same token, you can definitely acquire delicious mackerel or sardine taste. Right?
Yeah. People say the palate education is should be done when when you're at when you're a kid. So once you get like good example is like a dashi broth from the bonito. If you're used to it drinking when you're a kid, you learn, your palate learns it, and then you get the sense of the umami. So yeah,
right, interesting.
I think the same thing.
Yeah, and then umami, I heard it's mother's milk contains a lot of umami, so it's the foundational taste, and how you develop depends on education. I think some people when you're young, you never ate sushi, but now people get taste of good sushi and then kind of addicted to sushi as an adult. So I'm hopeful people can really have sustainable and healthy seafood as well. Right. So what are your plans and dreams?
As I say, I really love seafood, so surely I want to keep involving in the seafood industry. But one thing I think I should do is as I said, education to kids. I haven't acted anything yet, but for kids, I want to educate. So, for example, maybe get the teaching license in the elementary school, and then maybe have a class for fish class for kids, and then let them touch the fish, cook the fish, explain the fish, so and so.
Right, and you can do it in any country because of your English and global skills. So, I hope it's going to happen sometime in the near future. I'm going to start the program. Right. Okay, so where can we find your updates online and on social media?
I usually do not use social media, but however, my wife, has a website called foodsaketokyo.com. That is that has a lot of information about the Japanese food, including seafood. So if you can contact to the website, surely my wife catch your voice and then tell me some updates. So
So I haven't mentioned your amazing wife, Yukari Sakamoto. She used to be here, and she's just such a talent. She knows everything about the food and very intellectually understand the whole market in Tokyo, and I believe in other places. So you are a very strong couple in the food world, right? So and you said you used to do that Tsukiji market tour, but you don't do any tours anymore.
No, unfortunately. I mean, I work for a company, and then if I use my off time, I can do it, but I don't want to bother you know professionals in the market. So, but if it's out of the Toyosu Market, surely I can explain, seafood or Japanese ingredients in the supermarkets also. Um, yeah. So if you're curious, please contact my wife, and then we can take care of you.
Right. So what's the name of the website again?
Food Saki Tokyo.
Okay, great. All right. So, well, good luck. And please keep me posted, and especially about the educational program. We can probably come back and discuss it. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Shinji.
Thank you, Akiko-san. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, it's fun. So thank you. And listeners, if you have any questions or comments about the show or suggestions for show topics or guests, please contact us at japaneats@heritageradionetwork.org or akikokatema.com. Japan Eats is a weekly program and is always available at heritageradionetwork.org as well as on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify as a podcast. Our engineer is Liam Warner. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.
Japan Eats is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.
Hi, listeners. We want to tell you about a podcast we're really digging. It's called Christopher Kimball's Milk Street Radio. Every week, they travel the world to find the most fascinating stories about food, including children who harvest cod tongues after school in Norway and a detective who tracks down food thieves. And on Milk Street Radio, you can always find the unexpected. The comedian who ranks apples using an elaborate 100-point system, the secret history of grocery stores, and how to eat your way through Italy. They also interview the most beloved names in food like Jacques Pepin, Sola Aweli, Jose Andres, Jet Tila, Ina Garten, Nigella Lawson, and Padma Lakshmi. Plus, co-hosts Christopher Kimball and Sarah Moulton do live calls with listeners and answer their questions about ingredients, techniques, and culinary mysteries. Like, why roasting a leg of lamb made one caller's oven explode? Ever wonder why your bread won't rise or your souffle falls flat? Chris and Sarah have the answers. You'll also hear from a rotating cast of contributors, including Kenji Lopez-Alt, Cheryl Day, Dan Pashman from The Sporkful, and Alex Inuz, a French guy cooking from YouTube. Take a listen at 177milkstreet.com/radio or just search your podcast app for Milk Street Radio.